What's going on? I think we're going to replace these with some watermelons in this 9900. The good thing about 9900s is most of their stuff has push pins. So, I'll probably say that, and their stuff won't come out. Of course. Alright, take two. Side cutters didn't work. My pry tool is too big. So we'll try a screwdriver. There we go. So you just need a flathead screwdriver. And then just pull the little pins out. There we go. Ow. Get those. Don't lose those pins. Even though I probably just did. And then we'll take our pry tool. And let's see. Good thing we're replacing it. I got a little plastic in my eye. It's always good. There we go. Still think I got a little plastic in my eye. Alright, now that the plastic's out of my eye, I got this pulled down. There is a wire connector right here. You just pull the little tab and it should pop right off. So I take these and I usually reuse them if I can. So to pop all of them out. And then let's go get our watermelon and stainless bracket. Alright. We got our stainless bracket here. Actually, I put that on the wrong side. I get all my interior brackets from Jesse Dill. He makes a lot of Freightliner FLD stuff. Also some International 9900 stuff. I'm not really sure if what all. I mean, I'm sure an International is kind of the same thing all the way around. Interior wise for the most part. So I'm sure different ones will work in different trucks. I just happen to be, I have an International 9900. And that's what we're putting these in today. So these are just the dome lights right above your head, right above the door. Map light, I guess they could be called. So there we go. I already took the protective film off, so that part's alright. And then this is gonna be an on, off, on. My eye still feels funny from getting that piece of plastic in it. Usually I would use glass watermelons to do most of my interior stuff, or most of my interior lighting. unfortunately, I do not have any blue dual rev LED bulbs to make it work. So I do have some trucks, just plastic dual revolutions here. This one is actually red and blue. So we are going to use it, and maybe later on down the road, maybe I'll swap it out. Who knows? But gotta use what you got sometimes. Obviously, get your light set on there. Then get your top ring cover. Set it on there. These, the truck's lights, most of your lights come with mounting screws. There's usually two different lengths of them. Two long, two shorts. I've kind of realized that I usually end up using the longs more than the shorts. Get your nut on the back. Put your other screws in. And luckily with Jesse's, he puts slotted holes and not just drilled holes, so you have a little bit of side-to-side adjustment to make sure you're getting it center. So you want to make sure the foam is all underneath the bezel before you start tightening down your screws. Wrench for these in my pocket, see if it's still there. Let's see, 16ths, nope. Quarter, maybe. No, probably a metric 10. So be right back. Oops. All right. 7mm is what the nuts are. Got a Phillips screwdriver. Just tighten them down until everything is nice and snug to the panel. It really doesn't take a whole lot. Let's see. Technically, we will need our ground wire, which is our white wire. Actually, I'll take one of these nuts back off, since I forgot about this part to start with. And take an eyelet. There, let's actually look at our old one. Okay. So actually there is a constant ground on this. Take your old one and we're going to snip off your ground and your power. Once I find my snips. These will work. So, snip. And actually, we can leave this one because it's got a spade on it. So that'll come in handy here after a bit. Whoops. Now, we're going to trim this ground wire down. Not super far, but let's see how much wire we got here. That's going to go there. So our spade is actually supposed to go here. But this is a bolt on or a screw on type. So which takes these little screws. So I'm gonna take those off. And then we'll actually put an eyelet on this. And then eyelet on our other two to make those do what they want to do. So I wish I could get a better angle here. There we go. Crimp that down. Go ahead and take our screws out of this switch. Since our switch doesn't have screws for some reason, which it's a used switch. Whoop. I'll have to grab that here in a second. So on our switch, this is going to be our constant power feed right here. And then this, the two on the outsides, whichever way you're the opposite way. So if your switch is going downward, this upper pin will have power, and if you go upward, your downward is going to have power. So go ahead and put this on. We'll heat shrink this here a little bit later. A handful. There we go. I'm going to keep it towards the top because our electrical connector is towards the top. There's that. And then, let's see, we dropped our bolt, our machine screw. Since I took the machine screw off for no reason, since it has a constant ground, this back together. Trying to get it where you guys can see everything. Still not quite hanging up. There we go. Maybe. Now we need our 7mm. Right here. Make sure everything is center. So it needs to come down a little bit. There we go. That's better. And tighten this screw. And again, make sure that foam is underneath everything. Alright, so the light is now mounted. I'll tighten that up in a minute. So we're going to pay attention here to the ground. We're going to see kind of how much we're going to need here. I don't have my good snips and cutters with me. Right there. And for this, we're going to solder. So we're going to strip that end. And strip that end. Find us a piece of shrink wrap. Hopefully I am not out of it for this size. Which I might be. So, let's see. Let me see if I can find more shrink wrap. Right back. Alright, I'm back here. Just a second here. I'm actually using my spool of solder as a leaning post. Let's see. There we go. Should be plenty for what we're doing. There we go. Put the wires together here. I'm sure most of you know how to solder if you're doing electrical. If not, well, there's other YouTubes to show you. There we go. So now we have our ground. Some shrink wrap. Luckily my shrink wrap is a 3-to-1 shrink. So it gets pretty small. So there's that. Now, we're going to have to find a 12-volt power source. The red and the black are going to be a bright and a low for your power of your main light. So like on this one it's red. Your yellow wire is going to be your auxiliary color, which is blue on this. So I did not come prepared for anything, so I will be right back with a 12-volt. Works okay for the most part. Shoot. Need a jumper wire. Since I did not think this through. It'll work though. Because this needs, it's going to need a ground. So, that. Look for a white wire. Alright, so we got ground. Now we'll grab our black and our red. I can actually touch stuff. I think red is bright and black is dim. So, 1 and 2. Yep. So black is dim. And then we have blue. Which blue is just blue. So we're going to use the black and the yellow. So what we need to do here, one, maneuver some stuff so that I have my own little working spot here. Depending on which way you want your switch will be the way that you'll wire this. So I think that way will work. And go to this. Bring our black over here to this. Make sure there's enough. And trim it here. And then we will strip these back. 1 and 2. And we need 2 eyelets. I don't like using mini torches. Most of the time you end up just melting wire and burning wire more than you do anything. But that's just my preference. Don't forget our power wire. Still gotta grab that screw that we dropped earlier. Yeah, there it is. Trying not to fall off my stool. Oh. So, put our yellow on here. Screw in. I usually just get them snug down with my fingers first. Not like it's a big deal. Then put our dim light wire over here. Fight me. There we go. Screw that down. And screw it down tight. Our power's tight. So I'm pretty sure we got it tight. Yep. And then do this one. Make sure it's tight. Now, our red wire, you can kind of do whatever you want to do with this. I tend to kind of wrap it up and then I use let me out of them. Inventory is not going very well here lately. Oh shoot. Normally I would use just a very, very small zip tie and zip tie this up and put it against just another wire. This is just going to be a dead wire anyways, so we'll just use some Tessa tape since I don't have any small zip ties. And of course, this stuff you can't just rip, it's got to be cut. Once you get a little cut in it, then you can. But anyway, so we will get this tucked up in here where it's out of the way. Like I said, it's a dead wire. There's no power to that wire, so this isn't going to hurt anything. Unless your light gets to the point of having a backfeeding issue through the light itself, but I don't believe don't think I've ever had one actually do it. So, I think we'll be alright. Boy, I don't like that. I really wish I had my small zip ties. Oh well. Whoever gets it done, right? Alright. That is taped up. It's not just dangling out here. Obviously, tape looks like shit, but it is what it is. Now let's go install it. Alright, obviously back in the truck. Got our new light. Go ahead and just plug this sucker back in. Like that. And then get her up in here. Can't remember which way it actually went. Handle might be a little wide here. Well, let's see. Might have to trim our plastic a little here for our screws. Not a big deal. We'll go get a razor blade and we'll just trim that plastic back. Alright, so I was looking at the other side. The switch is actually to the front. So I'm just getting an idea here of where I need to trim this out at. And we'll just trim a little at a time. Till she kind of fits in there. Make sure you got a really good sharp razor blade, because otherwise you will be here probably forever. Alright, getting closer. Just a hair more. And we're not trying to take a 1/4 of an inch out of it at a time, just shaving a little off. Be like that painter guy, I'd be like, you know, this just shave a little, not a lot. I probably could, but so okay. together. Don't get plastic in your eyes. I will say it sucks. And don't cut your finger off either. Might have a small issue with our switch. Or the switch body. But we should be able to adjust that if need be. We have to adjust our switch body. But that's okay. Just loosen up this nut. And we tighten down the other one. And that'll give us some extra height for the plastic panel to sit in there. There we go. Let's try that. So we're still hitting a little bit there. So I think we'll go ahead and we'll just trim just like we did for the bolts. We'll just go ahead and trim this out a little bit for our switch. Just sit in here a little better. Almost there. So now, all the push pins that we took out, see this should fit right in these holes. And our connector. Some insert pins. This in here. Oop. Drop one. There's that. I'll put a pin in it. Dropped a push pin. feeling we're going to have to trim a little more for the nuts on the bottom of our light bolts. Did not think about that. So, trim just enough for the stud itself, but for it to sit flush. Might have to go just a little farther. That should be good there. There. Okay, so we're flush there. Looks like we may need to go just a hair more to the front. Luckily, if your lights have been on your panels for quite some time, you get kind of an outline. But why would we use that as a template, right? It does tell me not to go any farther. That's better. There. Now this back. There. Should be flush now. All the way around. Just like that. Some of this stuff is just trial and error. Especially if you have never done it before. Which, internationals I haven't. This will be the first of hopefully a few. There's that. And the push pin. And there's the blue. Off. Red. Now let's do the other side. I don't think I gotta show you both of them, but I'll try and get a picture later on tonight when it's dark. I'll have my driver take a picture with them on. But next video will be doing the upper this one and this one right there. There. We'll be doing those two. So we'll catch you next time.